All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're diving into the strange and really controversial death of the scientist Wilhelm Reich. But this isn't going to be your typical historical explainer. Nope. We're going to look at his final days through a completely different lens, the ancient framework of Vedic astrology, to see if, maybe, just maybe, the stars held a clue to his fate.
So here's the big question at the heart of all this. You've got this brilliant, if totally polarizing mind who dies all alone in a prison cell. Was this just a horrible tragedy, a failure of the system? Or was it something else entirely? A destiny that was, in a way, already written in the stars?
Okay, so first let's get the backstory straight. Wilhelm Reich, who's a pretty big deal in psychoanalysis, even studied under Freud. But then he went way off the beaten path with these radical theories about something he called Orgone energy. As you can imagine, this put him in direct conflict with the authorities, and his life came to a really abrupt end on November 3rd, 1957. He died of heart failure in a US federal prison.
Now, to understand the astrological side of this, we've got to look at his Vedic natal chart. The best way to think of this is like a kind of cosmic DNA. It's a snapshot of the heavens at the exact moment of birth, and it acts as a blueprint for a soul's journey in this life, mapping out both the gifts and the challenges.
And Reich's chart, well, it shows this powerful combination of energies right from the start. His sun in Pisces, that points to a visionary, almost mystical nature. But that's balanced by his Mars in Capricorn, which gives him this incredibly disciplined, even combative, scientific mind. Then you throw in Saturn in Libra, the planet of karmic justice and authority, and you can already see the seeds being planted for his future battles.
And this is where it gets really interesting. We have to talk about the Rahu-Ketu axis. In Vedic astrology, this is basically the main karmic storyline of a person's life. For Reich, it created this massive internal conflict. You've got Rahu and Virgo pushing him toward hard data and empirical analysis. But then you have Ketu and Pisces pulling him toward deep mystical intuition and cosmic energy. He was literally caught in a lifelong tug-of-war between the scientist and the mystic.
But a natal chart is just the blueprint, right? It's static. Vedic astrology also has this amazing timing system that shows which of those planetary energies get switched on as life unfolds. It's called the Dasha system, and you can think of it as a kind of karmic clock.
So yeah, it's essentially a predictive timeline. It highlights which planet is in the driver's seat during different chapters of your life, bringing its own specific themes to the forefront, whether that's success, struggle, or major transformation. So, what was going on for Reich in 1957, according to his karmic clock? Well, this is where it gets pretty wild. He had just entered a major period ruled by the planet Saturn. And what does Saturn govern? Things like confinement, karma, and clashes with institutional control. Sound familiar? Then, the subperiod was ruled by either the Moon, which can mean emotional collapse, or Mars, which points to conflict and physical strain. Either way you slice it, the combination points directly to imprisonment and the breakdown that came with it. Okay, so we've got the long-term clock. Now let's zoom in, way in to his final day. Beyond the Dasha system, astrologers also look at daily transits, the real-time positions of the planets. It's like pulling up a celestial weather report for a specific day to see the immediate forces at play. And on November 3rd, 1957, the celestial weather was, according to this analysis, a perfect storm. Seriously. Saturn was triggering a deep karmic reckoning. Rahu was amplifying his conflict with institutions. The Sun was highlighting themes of judgment and legal matters. And, this is the real kicker, Mars was in Cancer, a position that is said to directly afflict the chest and heart region. Every single transit seems to have dialed up the themes of judgment, isolation, and, crucially, physical strain on his heart. So, what are we supposed to make of all this? Was Reich's tragic end just a failure, a string of cosmic coincidences, or, from this more esoteric perspective, could it actually have been a form of karmic completion, a kind of liberation? To really get that idea, we need to understand a key Sanskrit term, moksha. It means emancipation, or liberation, or release. The idea here is that a soul can finally be freed from a long cycle of struggle, but that this freedom often comes through one final, intense, difficult experience. This table just lays out the whole story, connecting the cosmic symbols to the real events of Reich's life. It's pretty amazing. Saturn's theme of restriction, that becomes his literal arrest. Mars' theme of struggle, well, that shows up as both his scientific rebellion and the fatal strain on his heart. You can go right down the list and see how Ketu's mysticism is reflected in his lifelong chase of Orgone energy. So the final conclusion from this particular viewpoint is that Reich's death wasn't just some random, unfortunate event. It was a form of karmic closure. It represented that ultimate moment where the visionary who was always reaching for the cosmos finally crashed into the hard limits of the physical world, a world of prisons, laws, and ultimately a failing heart.
And that leaves us with a final, pretty big question to ponder. Whether you believe in astrology or not, an analysis like this forces you to ask, can looking for these kinds of patterns, even cosmic ones, offer a different kind of meaning to the incredible highs and tragic lows of a human life?